everyone, welcome back to Cowabunga Corner. In this episode, we are having a wonderful guest who's done so many turtle episodes. This is Renae Jacobs, who was April O'Neil in the original cartoon series. So the Channel 6, all the great things that we remember as kids. And I really have to thank you for coming on the Cowabunga Corner.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it and very excited to meet you.
Oh, thank you. What inspired you to get into acting?
Well, I think I was just born excited about acting. I had grown up in Lansing, Michigan for part of my younger years, and my parents took me to see a play called Most Happy Fellow, and it was in Okemos at this little theater. I think I was about 6 years old, and after seeing that, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Lansing was an interesting place because Michigan State is in Lansing, and they had their own television channel. They had programs for kids on the campus, and I was very inspired by a television program. There was a woman, kind of a Peter Pan kind of a woman, short hair, very magical, and she had a show with puppets. And I was very taken with it, and then the next summer she offered a class at Michigan State. She taught us, I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, she taught us how to make a slit in the back of our favorite stuffed animal and take all the stuffing out and turn that animal into a puppet. And then she taught us how to do voices, and apparently I was so good I ended up on the television show. So by 7 years old I was performing on local television in puppetry. Shows.
How did you get into the voice acting? You said she trained you some. When you came out here, was that what you were inspiring to do, or were you looking to
yes,
do
absolutely. My father was an orthodontist and very successful, but my mother was very unhappy in Michigan. The weather was terrible, I don't have to tell you. And once my father got his California boards, my mother said, we have to move. And the minute they announced to us that we were moving, I was like, yeah, that's where Hollywood is. So I was very excited, moved out here when I was 10 years old, and continued pursuing acting, mainly theater, a lot of theater. There was an amazing theater company in Whittier, where I grew up after we moved here. And it was all children. You had to be 18 years old or under in order to participate. And it was like professional theater. We did the costumes, the sets, the makeup. We learned every aspect of theater in addition to performing. And it was run very professionally, very disciplined. There were high expectations. And so I was able to continue fulfilling my dreams, voice lessons, dance lessons. And then in high school, one of the art teachers was very involved in helping Knott's Berry Farm develop this, it was called a gypsy camp. And he knew that I was involved in acting, and after talking to him he realized I did lots of voices. So we went into the studio and I recorded all of the voices for a number of puppet shows. They were kind of the Muppets based. He created all of these soft fabric puppets, and then I did all the voices for them. So there were other actors that were there every day performing the shows, but it was my voice doing all the voices. So I continued doing voiceover work.
So what was your first major role, character for TV or movies?
Oh, gosh, let's see, that's a good question. First major role. Well, you stumped me, you know. I have to go back and look at my resume. That's so funny because animation was really getting very strong when I got into it, and so I was very involved with Hanna-Barbera and Deke and Disney, and I was doing a lot of recurring roles. There was a television show, a cartoon show called The Moon Dreamers. I don't know if you remember them. Very much on the Strawberry Shortcake, My Pretty Pony, right in that era. And I had lead roles in that. I did featured roles on a lot of different other shows. But I think Moon Dreamers was probably my first full series.
Okay. Did any of the voice actors, after you got into animation, help coach you in different ways and helped you a lot to where you remember a lesson that someone helped you with?
You know, everybody came in pretty darn talented. We all shared, we all joked around. And in joking around, we were using voices and using techniques. I mean, Pat Fraley taught me how to cry as a baby just by doing it. Did he do that for you?
Yes, he did.
So we all know how to do that, and you know, how to break your nose, you know, and different silly things. But you know, we were all pretty seasoned and trained, and nobody like tried to coach anybody else. We had a director. You know, Sue Blue was our director, and you know, if she wanted something different out of you, she told you. But in terms of each teaching each other, it was more from goofing around in the studio in between takes and picking up little tidbits, you know, from each other, that kind of thing.
How did you get your job on Ninja Turtles?
Well, that's a very interesting story. I don't know if you know this story, but the original director was going to be a fellow named Stu Rosen. And so Stu had a casting call. And my agent called me, and I went in just like probably 500 other women from town. And so I went in and I did my thing and felt pretty good about it, and didn't hear anything. Well, Stu told me later, I mean, then I got the call from my agent saying that I had gotten the job. So Stu told me, you know, I didn't like your audition. I just didn't think it was the right thing. Stu was very big and a character. He said, so I didn't even show the producer your audition. He said, but I went through all of them and they didn't like anybody. And he said, well, I have this one last one, and then he played it for them, and they said, that's April O'Neil. So that's how I got the job. And it was really interesting too. You know, we did the first 5 episodes, and then nothing. So you know, that was good. It was very popular. People were talking about it. It was really cool. And then on April 7th, 1988, I was in the hospital. I just had my daughter, and I got a call from my agent. Congratulations on your daughter, and your Ninja Turtles just went to series. So that was really exciting.
That would be. That's a great day.
It was like, whoa, baby had a job. Nice.
A way to remember that day for sure. When you recorded, did you get to record with everyone in the cast?
Yes. In those days, we all sat around. It was kind of like an old-time radio show. We did a rehearsal, and then we went and we recorded, and we went through. We tried to go through as much of the script without stopping. Sometimes we'd stop and go back. Sometimes someone would blow a line. But we really, it was like doing it as an old-time radio show. We just went, just like doing theater.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was
that. I know that Pat mentioned that him and Rob did a lot of ad-libbing. Did you join in onto that?
You know, April O'Neil was kind of straight. She was the straight person, so it really wasn't my job to be throwing in funny lines. She really was their foil. There was a lot of ad-libbing. Many times that we would hear, cut, okay guys, stick to the script. Because they really wanted us to play it a little differently than what we had wanted to play it. The producers were constantly coming back to us and saying, it's not dark enough. It needs to be dark. It needs to be serious. Cut it out. And the guys would just kind of let it roll off their back. We'd do 1 or 2 episodes where it would get a little darker, and then bam, they were right back to being their sweet, funny selves. And there were just so many wonderful ad-libs, and you know, so many wonderful things they did to instill some honor and integrity and life lessons. You know, I loved what they did. The ad-libbing to me was what made this particular show so special.
Now I know David Wise, the writer, he was really happy with the work you guys did on the show, and one of his favorite things is that everyone kind of took to the characters how he wrote it, because he said there was things he wanted the brothers to be different, and they were telling him, no, make them all the same. And so he threw in the word Cowabunga to try and help that. And Townsend just took that. And he's like, it went perfect, just what he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys did a great job even on the writer's view.
Well, you know, voiceover acting, the thing about voiceover acting is, you know, if your face is on camera, you can express yourself. You bring life to the character with your entire body. When you're doing voiceover acting, you're only using your voice, which means that you have to even be better. You have to be richer. You have to bring more to the character to lift it off the page. The animation is very flat. It's not like the old Disney animation with that rich color and almost that three-dimensional look. It's that very flat animation. So Townsend and Cam and Barry and Rob, I mean, they lifted those guys off the page and gave them their life. And I think that's what really drew kids in. It wasn't just the animation. I mean, the animation's flat. It's cute, but it's flat. It was the life that they breathed in those characters. And we took time and flushed those characters out. We didn't just come in and read a script. And we knew who we were. We knew where we'd come from. We knew, you know, I knew where April had grown up, where she came from, what she'd gone through to get that job, and her relationships with the boys. And it was fully flushed out. It wasn't just a script that we were reading.
What did you feel inspired April to become the reporter she became?
Oh my goodness. Well, she had always wanted to be a reporter. She'd always felt that there was right and wrong, and she'd always wanted to be able to present that side. She liked being in front of the camera, and she loved having a team. She liked working with a team, and the boys fulfilled that dream with her.
What did you feel of her overall character for the series?
I thought she was very upbeat, very positive always. A little frustrated that she was constantly getting carried off by some goon. But she knew she'd be okay.
She should have taken some martial arts lessons.
You know what? I don't think that she needed to, because she knew the boys would be there for her. So she felt that if she could be up front doing the story, hitting the hard news, that the boys had her back.
Yeah, they always did. They definitely did. What was the hardest part about being April?
You know, there really wasn't anything difficult about being April O'Neil. Again, she's very much like me, very upbeat, very positive, very sure of herself. I think what was interesting, if we can take it out of just doing the animation, was the voiceover part, which was interesting and potentially difficult, was that the show became so popular. As you know, I mean, kids were taking the sewer lids off of the, you know those very heavy sewer lids.
Yeah.
They were taking them off looking for the turtles, which meant it was dangerous. So we had to do public service announcements to tell kids,
Downplay that.
we are not in your sewers. We are in a special hidden sewer, and you cannot find us. So don't take off the sewer covers because it's dangerous. I was sitting with my daughter, who at that point was 2 years old, in a stroller in a park. And I looked around, and every kid had Ninja Turtle t-shirts, socks, shorts, hats. And I realized that if it hadn't been my voice, if it had been my face, if it had been live action, I wouldn't have been able to go outside. That's how popular it was. So being April O'Neil was easy because I was anonymous. And that was great. But there were some interesting things that happened due to the popularity of Turtles.
Do you have a favorite character in Ninja Turtles besides April?
Well, that wouldn't be very fair if I told you that. You know, just like my children, I love them equally. I can't tell you which turtle I love the most. That wouldn't be very fair. With regard to like other characters that I played, I love Lotus Blossom. She was wonderful. There was the ninja girl. There was the girl who knew how to take care of herself.
Oh, yes.
You know, nobody needed to defend her. And I liked playing that part. That was great. I wish she had been on more. But, you know, I couldn't tell you which boy I liked better, because that would make me jealous, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I was looking at Lotus, and she's such a different character because she actually gets an interest in one of the turtles.
Yes.
Was that different for you, being up there playing a character that liked one of the guys?
Oh, it was fun, because I actually got to pick one and get away with it. Yeah, it was fun. They're all gorgeous, those guys. The guy behind the turtle. Pretty good looking.
Was there any funny moments while filming that, while doing the vocal work with the guys, that really just stand out as something that you'll always remember happening while doing so?
I would have to say no, because every single episode was hysterical. When the recording was stopped, it would be quiet for a second, and then somebody would start up, and then it would just start bouncing around the rooms, and they have to settle us down. It was just, each recording session was really, really special.
Now, while doing so heavy in the voice acting stuff, were you able to live off of just voice acting, or did you have to have another job to help pay the bills?
Well, it's a very good question. I did very well in voiceover for many, many, many years. My husband happens to be a doctor. And I also manage the office, so we have a very nice income. So I didn't have to do anything else in terms of, I mean, I worked in the office as well, in my husband's office, and voiceover. Voiceover is what bought us our houses, so we did just fine with voiceover.
I know a lot of actors talk about how they had other jobs, so it's always had my curiosity where people stood with that.
No,
so.
I was very fortunate. I never had to have a... Once I broke into voiceover acting, I did well enough that we did fine.
Now you did a lot of characters. Besides for April O'Neil and Lotus, besides for the Ninja Turtle characters, what was your other favorites that you have done for the years that fans would recognize?
Well, that's a good question too. You know, obviously the Moondreamers was an excellent show, and it was a series. I've done things such as the voice of the baby in the Seed of Chucky.
Oh.
At the end of the movie. I was in Cage Master. I was in the one of my favorite ones was a show called Rose Petal Place. I played in Rose Petal Place.
I recognize the name.
Marie Osmond had the lead, and it was a Hallmark series. Very popular. I guess that different guest voices. So my only two long-term series was Moondreamers, Ninja Turtles, which ran for 9 years. And with Ninja Turtles, they really kind of owned your life. We weren't really allowed to take any other series.
Is there anything you would like to say to the Turtle fans watching this who grew up with you as April O'Neil?
Well, no, there's a lot I'd like to say. I'd like to say thank you for supporting the show and being there. Thank you for learning the lessons. I hope you've learned the lessons that the Turtles tried to impart about honor and protecting those that may not be able to protect themselves, about doing the right thing. And I hope that you always have fond memories about this show and live by the Turtle Code. I appreciate everything that the fans do still and have done in the past. It was a very important show on many levels, and it was really a joy to be part of it and to be part of your lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And would April like to sign us out of this interview?
I would certainly like to sign you out. Michelle, it's been a pleasure meeting you and interviewing with you. This is April O'Neil, Channel 6 News.